Okay, hi everybody. I'm just going to wait a couple more minutes for everyone to come. So we have like 1 more minute. Everyone who's joining us, we are now live on YouTube, and you get the link by going to rawmunchies.org/30noodleswebinar2, or you can just go straight to rawmunchies.org and click the blue button. It will take you to the link. We're going to start in exactly 1 minute and wait for everyone to join. I do hope that this is easy for you to see. If there are any questions, I would be answering them at the end. This is very exciting. We've never done this before. So this is the first RawMunchies video. If there's any comments, just let us know. Okay, so about 1 minute to go. Hope people are joining in. So we're just gonna wait a little bit, and yes, we are on. Okay, everybody, welcome to our first ever webinar on RawMunchies. I'm just going to quickly check that everything is working and the technology we're on the website. So bear with me. We are live on YouTube, and essentially we're going to talk today about the diet. There's questions. We'll answer your questions at the end. So essentially, everybody who wants to join, we are live on YouTube. There's a chat that's live on YouTube. I'll be answering questions at the end of the webinar. If you want to join through the live chat on the website, that's www.rawmunchies.org, and just click the blue link to the webinar and then click the blue link to join. Today we are launching 30 noodles. It's funny, it looks on the opposite side, like mirror image on my side. And we have an amazing launch event going on today. This webinar is part of a lot of other things that are going to happen. So we're going to talk about the diet. I'm going to tell you my personal story, answer 15 questions plus a bonus question that relate to the diet, and then I'm going to go live on the chat and answer some questions that you guys might have. Anybody who buys the book today would get a copy of 12 vegetarian sauces. This is an ebook that's available on Amazon, and you're getting it for free. It's a PDF version. Not only are they raw vegan, they are also nut-free and seed-free, and they're all gluten-free, of course. A quick, cute list for revolutionizing your kitchen, and this is a fridge list. A nice organizer for you to have your daily meals and shopping plans, and 3 free recipes from the next book, which is the last one in the series, which is 50 salads. So, the Kindle version and all ebooks today on launch day are $299, and of course equivalent in all other currencies. So I'm quite excited to start. On the webinar, if you're on YouTube, it should be in the comments. If you're on the website, it should be in the blue button. Please download the PDF. This is our webinar for today. On the first page, you will see like everything I've just said about all the free stuff. So there's a YouTube link to the video and how do you get all the free stuff when you're buying the book today. And there's also all the links to everything that I'm about to say. So links to our sources. Wow, this is really exciting. I'm hoping to give you a lot of resources today so you can really use them and to really be able to teach about this lifestyle and about my journey. And we're gonna start by my personal story. There's a little bit of heaviness right at the beginning, so if this is too much for you, now would be the time to check all those messages in your iPhone. Essentially, my story started when I was 21, and I guess most people think that, you know, before 40s or 50s, your health is supposed to be perfect, and I believe that too, but unfortunately that was not the case. I'm 35 now, and when I was 21, my health started to go downhill. And essentially by the age of 23, I had 3 systems down all at the same time. It was quite extreme. I had digestive, immune, and sleep down at the same time. So by sleep, I mean I had insomnia style, like Fight Club. Like I would sleep like 2 to 3 hours a night, and that would be it. It would be horrible. Like a good night would be 4 to like maybe 5 hours, and I would be sick like every 3 weeks, and it was just not working, and my body just thought that the food I was feeding it was poisonous. Like I would just get sick all the time. And at that point, I believed in the medical system in my country. It's very different now. It's a lot more modern, but at the time I believed in it, and I thought that they knew best, and they couldn't find what was wrong with me. I know now, but I'm kind of glad I didn't go down any other route. And I mean, my diary then consisted basically of meat, dairy, everything cooked, because I was taught that releases nutrients. Lots of antibiotics. I mean, when I was a child, I was also very sick, and they basically wanted to take my tonsils out and then put me on permanent antibiotics, to which my mother just said, like, this is insane, don't do that, thankfully. And I had a lot of vaccinations, a lot of them with metals as well. So when my body was cracking from all this, that was really a parade. And I basically went to all the best of the heads of departments and hospitals, and they just couldn't tell me what was wrong with me. And at some point they said, oh, you know what? This is just stress. We'll just give you happy pills. And I'm like, no. I've given you 23 years. You can't tell me what's wrong with me. I'm not taking anything. And at that time, for me, like, stuff like this was complete quackery. Like, there was no way I was ever going to go vegan. There was no way I was ever going to believe in anything except for the prescribed medical system. So I was really new to even the idea that food had any effect on anything other than how you feel immediately afterwards. And so I started doing things in a slightly different way. And around the age of 25, I was learning this technique that is more like yoga type Pilates. It's called the Palate Technique, and it works on ring muscles. And I told my teacher, listen, I'm beginning to worry about my relationship with food, because when I'm looking at my plate, I'm thinking, God, what would that do to me? What would this do to me? What would this do to me? It seems that it's all kind of almost poisonous to me. And he said, don't worry at all. There is a diet that is based on something that was 100 years ago, that was called the Kingston Clinic diet, which is ironic because I moved to Edinburgh and Kingston Clinic is kind of down the road. And it was not a raw vegan diet, but it was definitely very high on fruits and veggies. And I started doing that, and I started getting better. And on the 7 years that I was on this diet, I got gradually better, and I started acknowledging the importance of the diet and of food. And I went off dairy at some point by accident, just forgot to buy it in the supermarket. Suddenly I felt so much better. And, as I went along, I realized that heavy meat was not for me, and that even a lot of regular meat was not for me. And I went gradually until I got to this point. And about 3 years ago, I decided to give the medical system one last chance. And I went, and accidentally, I was supposed to see a different doctor, met a vegetarian doctor who was really enthusiastic about this kind of stuff. And she said, okay, yes, absolutely. We'll send you to the dietitians. And they put me on a diet that I can honestly say, like, in comparison with what I've seen people eat, the FODMAP diet is actually pretty good. But in comparison with the amount of fruits and veggies that I was having, it was a step backwards. And it made me really, really sick. And I decided that I had to find something else. And again, it was actually an accident. I was Googling something else entirely. And I bumped into Christina Carrillo Bakaram. You guys know her as Fully Raw Christina. She's a YouTuber. And she was talking about her eyes changing color on a raw vegan diet, and I thought, no way that could happen. And about 15 minutes later, I discovered the Dr. Morse diet. That was May 25, 2015. And I've been raw vegan ever since. Obviously, all the bad stuff's gone. My energy is really high. My happiness is really high. This has not been an easy time for me. The last 3 years probably were the most stressful in my life, and I've been dealing with it as if it were like nothing in comparison with before. Those of you following me on Twitter, you've seen the white hair go back to black, wrinkles down. I fixed a tooth. So this one, it had this like kind of white thing on it, and I was told like no type of medical intervention could ever cure that, and it's gone. Skin marks, skin problems, clear vision, scars down. I cured an injury again. I didn't like how it looked. I was told there's no plastics that could ever help. It's gone, can't see it. I went back to that doctor, and she sat with me for 40 minutes and explained to me, like answered all my questions. And she told me I had the blood pressure of a teenager. And really, she was happy to share knowledge. She told me to stay away from anything unnatural. She was amazing. She was a really great support. I even had a couple of incidents of cuts without bleeding. So this is how amazing this diet is. And now we're going to go straight to the questions. This is the first time I've shared my personal story. And of course, there's a lot more to it, but I think I'm taking it kind of one step at a time. So those of you who are joining now, we're launching the book, 30 Noodles, today on launch day. Any ebook version, including Kindle, is $299 and equivalent in all currencies. And everybody who downloads it today and buys it gets a lot of free stuff. If you are on YouTube, look at the comments. At the description. If you are on the website, click the blue button and please download the PDF for this. So everything that I said at the beginning, all the free stuff, that's here on the first page, including the YouTube video, and all the links that I'm going to be talking about, they're all here. So, yeah, okay. Right, now comes the teaching part. So, our questions for today, 15 questions plus the bonus question, which is the noodle trick questions that I promised. So, number 1, what is raw vegan? Number 2, how does detox work? Can you really heal anything? Number 3, do you anti-age on a raw vegan diet? Number 4, what is the worst food? Number 5, how do you do food combinations? Number 6 and 7, what are some other healthy tips to avoid and to add? Number 8, what is the best exercise? Number 9, how do you do it on a budget? Number 10, why do eyes change color? 11, what are the best raw vegan diets out there? 12, how do you convert a recipe? 13, what do I eat in a day? 14, what do I do about makeup? 15, what other lifestyle changes can you make to be happier and healthier? And of course, the noodle tricks is the bonus question. I'll try and go through them simply and give you as much resources for experts as possible. I'll be answering questions from the chat and from the YouTube chat at the end. Okay, very exciting. Let's do the first one. What is raw vegan? So essentially, raw vegan is a diet that is made out of fruits and veggies, made under 42 degrees centigrade or 108 Fahrenheit. This is natural temperature. Essentially, it's like drying something out in the sun. If you take it and then you plant it back, it's alive, it will grow a tree for you. The purpose is to preserve nutrients, keep enzymes in their original state, and avoid trans fats. Most people practice this diet at 80% and above. How does detox work? Can you really heal anything? Okay, this is probably the single most important question in everything I'm about to say, and by all means, do view the links that I've put on this question. So the idea behind everything we're doing is to get into the body and rebuild inner tissue. Now, if you think logically, when we get a cut on our hand, it heals, right? That's rebuilding tissue. That's really easy. Now, when someone goes to a surgery, they come back and then they heal. So that's rebuilding inner tissue. So rebuilding inner tissue is something that the body does naturally. The idea is, how do you heighten that process? How do you make it so that when you do that, you're giving it better nutrients, you're building a better tissue, and you're healing from chronic states? So I did a cute video called Dodo the Detox Dragon. It's in the notes. And essentially, in a nutshell, if you walk down a dirty street with pollution, with air pollution, and you breathe it in, you would then cough it out. That's just like detox. Gets in toxins, body gets it out. And if on a regular basis, you're going to be breathing this, at some point, it's just like someone who's a smoker. At the beginning, when they just start, they have a lot of symptoms, but then down the line, suddenly they're okay. But then much later, their body breaks and they have diabetes, or they have cancer, heart disease, lung problems. That's what happens when the body loses kind of that resistance, that natural resistance. And then when you take them off of that, hopefully early enough so they don't have to get into a bit bad trouble, their body releases all that out of them. So that's the idea behind what is detox. Now, there are 4 ways in and out of the body. So we talked about breathing, the respiratory system. It's also ear, nose, and throat. That's easy. You breathe something out, you breathe it in, you can cough it out, you can breathe it out. The second one that's easy to understand is the skin. So yes, you can sweat something out of the skin, but you can also absorb through the skin. So for example, think of the nicotine patch if you're talking about the smoker, or think of the pregnancy patch. So you have something that is on your skin and you absorb through it. So breathing skin, there's a system for solid. So you eat something and then afterwards it gets out. And then there's the liquid system. Now that's the most interesting bit. This is the bit that is kind of how we would like to cure, because it's the easiest one. You want things like just getting out through your kidneys, through the lymphatic system. And here's how it works. If you think about every cell in your body as kind of a living organism of its own, and that cell, it takes nutrients in and it also takes garbage out. Because every cell is just like you, just like a little mini living organism. Well, how can it then get all those nutrients completely out through the system, right? So we have 2 fluids in the body. The first one is alkaline, and it's the blood, and it's powered by your heart. And the second one is acidic. It's called lymph, and it's powered by muscle movement. So obviously you can't get the nutrients from the cells out through the blood. You have to do it, because it's acidic, you have to do it through the acidic system. So the lymph system is the body's sewage system. And the idea is, as long as it's flowing, then all that, all those toxins go through that fluid and come out in liquid form, because your kidneys are filtering it all out. And that's the 4th. We had these 4 ways in and out of the body. There's breathing, there's skin, there's solids, there's liquids. Now, we talked quickly about acid and alkaline. So obviously we have to keep the body in whatever is the most natural form, which is, and also if you think about the blood, we want to keep things a little bit more on the alkaline side. So this is another thing that we think about when we're on this diet. How do we give our body that strength, that kind of soothing relaxation, alkaline sensation? And that is a big part of detox. Now, the question was, is it possible to heal anything? In theory, yes. In practice, depending on what the state the body is in and how much time you have, you will know. Like, for example, I shared my story earlier in this video. This video would be on YouTube as well, so you can see it. It's clear that my body is extremely sensitive, because there's a lot of chronic conditions that I'm curing on this diet. And I'm now down about 2/3 of my symptoms, which is really impressive. I've only been doing this for 3 years, and I come from a very, very acidic chronic state. But for someone like me to really heal, it can take 10 years. So considering I'm young enough and I'm really doing this at a high level, then yes, I would probably be able to go all the way. So it depends. Like there's some people who heal in 60 days. There's like, if you have extremely great kidneys and really good ancestry, there's some people who never have problems before they're 90. So again, each person is different. So we're clear with this question. This is probably the most important of the 15. I linked 2 of the videos on the PDF by Mark James Gordon. Now, he makes really easy to view videos. They're about everything they've just said about detox, and they're about kidney filtration. I mean, you don't have to have any previous knowledge. It's all with illustrations. It's easy to understand. So by all means, go and see them. And if you want to know a bit more like about the lymphatic system, then I also gave the Great Lymphatic System video by Dr. Morse, whose diet I follow. Okay. A lighter question now. Do you anti-age on a raw vegan diet? So raw vegans look young, but do we actually go backwards? Okay, so let's think backwards to the previous question. We talked about the skin. So the skin is what makes you look young. And since the skin is kind of the last thing before you in the outer world, that's kind of relatively easy to get to. So that's why a lot of times people go on the diet and they immediately start looking a lot like more vibrant, more young. I linked a video of Simply Raw. This is a documentary about a couple of people from different ancestries, different backgrounds, different countries. And they are going for a month for a clinic that treats diabetes using a raw vegan diet and how they cure them. And on the first day, you see everyone has this sort of depletion in the skin. It's almost like it's it looks almost like a gray shine coming out of it, very dried out, very tired. And on day 30, they all have that kind of sunny glow. So the skin is relatively easy to get to, and that's why raw vegans look so young. And of course, you heal inner organs, so it kind of gets better with time. And there is a little trick that I do if I want like raw vegan Botox, which is to go on a grape fast. And I gave you guys the link to the blog where I mentioned this, which was part of our 14-day to the launch. So for those of us joining now, I will be answering the questions at the end. Please feel free to post things on the live chat, either on YouTube or on the website if you have questions. And I mean, if you ever have questions to me, that's not a problem. You can always just go through the website and I will do my best to answer them or to give you links. Number 4, what is the worst food? Okay, so here I would say that that's kind of not for me to say because I have come to my own conclusion. So I'm going to just tell you what the links are. And generally my opinion is that it is dairy. And that's for many reasons, partly because if you look out in nature, I have never seen an adult cow drink milk. Nor have I ever heard of any, any animal, well, kind of drinking another animal's milk. And once you're done being a baby, you're not supposed to need it anymore. So the amount of pressure on the system and the protein called casein, which if you consume above 5%, then it gets cancerous. So you want to keep that down. And with the depletion of calcium, so you're actually consuming something that is getting like you more depleted in calcium than the calcium it's actually giving you. So I've linked Harvard Medical School article on dairy and a movie called Forks Over Knives, which is a documentary about veganism, and it has a lot of institutional medical doctors and experts on nutrition speaking about this. I've linked Fully Raw Christina. She made a video on eggs. You guys know I really like her because she's been on this diet for about 12 years. She's been through all the ins and outs. She's on a diet relatively similar to mine. and the medical Dr. Neal Bernard on the dangers of chocolate, cheese, meat, and sugar. So I linked all of these, and again, it's my opinion that it is dairy, but every person is, you know, based on your own experience, you'll have your own opinion of what is actually the worst food. Question number 5, how do you do food combinations? So there are different diets, and this is a later question today. And essentially, again, I am very like subtle on my body, but there are people out there who can take their entire fridge, dump it in the blender, and have absolutely no problems the next day. I'm not one of them, so I have to be quite strict. On the diet that I follow, which is the Dr. Morse diet, we look at food combinations in 2 things. 1, the speed of digestion of the foods, and 2, the acid and alkaline environment that they would create in the body, or the body would need to have in order to digest them. So it's easy to remember it like this: melons, sweet fruit, everything else. So melons, melon, watermelon, honeydew, papaya. We separate them. We don't eat them with the other things. All right, so that's number 1. Number 2, all the other sweet fruits. Now here I would make a slight distinction. Again, acid and alkaline. If you are eating acidic foods with alkaline foods, they interact with each other. You're also compensating for like the different type of environment that they would need. Essentially, the best combination is no combination. If you could eat like what we call the monomeal, which is the grape fast I was speaking about before, you're just eating one grape after another. That's very easy for the body. It's very relaxing because it's the same process, the same chemistry. But if you are eating the sweet fruits, just you know, see how your body responds. For someone like me, it's a big no-no to put bananas together with oranges, for example, because one's alkaline, the other one's acidic. And so we did melons, so we did sweet fruit, and now we have everything else. Everything else is, for example, the non-sweet fruits like tomatoes, like cucumbers. Essentially, a fruit is anything that grows on a plant or a tree, bears seeds, and has a certain amount of water content. So within that, we have the non-sweet fruits as well. Now, within this group, the only thing to worry about is not to combine a protein and a starch, because the proteins create the acidic environment and the starch is the alkaline environment. So again, we said melons, then all the sweet fruits, then everything else, but separating proteins and starches. And essentially, by separating, if you're going from sweet to non-sweet, then it's half an hour. If you're going from non-sweet to sweet, it's 1 hour. Okay, question number 6. What are some other healthy tips to avoid? So essentially, we're trying to go as natural as possible. So clean air, makeup and creams. So we spoke about the skin absorbing before. If you can't eat it, don't put it on your skin, right? So when you buy something, always check what's inside it. If there's anything you don't understand, like if it says olive oil, you know what that is. But if it says something on the dioxide, look it up, see if it's dangerous. Try to buy something that most of the ingredients, especially the ones that come first, because in most countries, the higher up the list, the larger the content. So just at least the beginning of the ingredients list is natural. And again, check the other stuff, see that it's not dangerous for you. Stay away from the pharmacy as far as possible. Try and get away from any chemicals whatsoever. We will do a makeup question later on today. So for those of you who really want to do it, sometimes you just have to. There is an option. What are some other healthy tips to add? Okay, so there's a lot here. There's so many things that I've seen people do, and a lot of them works. I have not done all of them. The ones that I did that I felt were really good were saunas, ear candling, which is like a sauna for the ears, skin brushing, hot and cold showers. My tip there, don't go crazy cold. Go a little bit warmer, a little bit colder. See how your body adjusts, because your body is different on different days. So one day you might like really want that cool waterfall type feeling, so you'd really go cold, and some days you would just try it, and after one go you'd say, okay, forget about it, not today. And, you know, there's other things that people do, like breathing exercises, acupuncture, yoga. There's two which are very popular, which I have never tried, and I gave you guys a link. There's a guy called Marcus Rothkranz, and I really like to follow him. He's been doing this for over 20 years, and his girlfriend is a raw vegan chef, and they talk a lot about these type of other types of detox as well, and they have a lot of really great tips. Oh, I forgot. Oil pulling for the teeth. I've done that, and that was really good too. And herbs. Right. So he talks about doing neti pots and enemas and how much that's helped him. And I linked those two because I've never done that, so I can't tell you if it works for me, but obviously it's worked for a lot of people. So it's the links in the PDF. If you're joining now, this is all in the comments and sorry, in the description, so you can download the PDF there. Or if you're on the website, it's the blue button. Number 8, what is the best exercise? So in question number 2, I gave you guys a link to what is kidney filtration. And the idea is if your body is getting toxins out of the body quite easily, then moving is not a problem, because again, movement creates like that lymph system movement. So we're kind of like, imagine it's a road and the cars are flowing, so they can like flow a little bit faster, and that's okay. But if you're clogged, then it's like a traffic jam. And the last thing is you don't want them bumping into each other. You don't want too much too soon. So with exercise, it's really what's right for every person. And I mean, the way you know is just, you know, by feel, and obviously check if you're filtering. And I can tell you from experience, because I'm a hiker, when I first started, a good day hiking would be 10 kilometers. A really, really great day over the stress edge would be 15. Last year I did West Highland Way. The last day was going sort of up towards Ben Nevis, and that was over 20 kilometers. I had no problems doing that. And the first day that I did like 18, I was on this diet, I started walking, and I just continued walking even though I only planned to do 9. So I was ready for more. Couldn't do it before, and I'm sure that there are things that, you know, I'd want to do now that I'm not ready for. So it depends on how the whole structure around the elimination is working. We don't want to push anything. Okay, but of course, yeah, you need movement, like no couch potatoes, just, you know, according to what works best. How do you do it on a budget? So in your PDF, there's the link to a beautiful video by Filera Christina. I've mentioned her before, and she gives a lot of tips on how to do this diet on a budget. I have chosen 3 major things that you can do that are easy to do. The first one is buy in bulk. So if you source your food from one source, especially if it's a farmer's market and you buy in bulk, you can negotiate price. So that's one of the ways to do it. And a lot of people actually, I admire the people who do this organically and they do it like that. So because they have the best food and it's all in season, which is the second tip. Eat in season. 1, you get much better quality, get better taste, and 2, it's going to cost a lot less. Essentially, I was really surprised to discover this, but the cheaper the food, the better it is for you. This is another thing that's kind of nice in this diet. And another one is grow your own if you can, or, which is better, go out foraging. A couple of months ago, I was out in the Highlands and I saw these little blueberries, and they tasted nothing like the stuff in the supermarket, and they were actually blue inside. So it's nature's food, so food for free. So get a nice foraging book for your area and see what you can find. Okay, number 10. Why do the eyes change color? This was my first question. This is how I got on this diet in the first place. And if you guys have watched me on YouTube, you must have seen that video about how I discovered the diet. I was born with blue, and then by the time I was a toddler, it was kind of black, and then it went orange, hazel, and you probably can't see it in this light, but right now it's kind of gray with stuff on top of it. It's like a blue, in the light, and like outside in the sun, you see a blue canvas with all sorts of colors. So what's causing that? Like, how come that happened? So there is a discipline called iridology, iridology. So it looks at the eye, and it's concerned with two things: the color and the structure of the fibers. And there's a correlation between the way the eye is working, like the way the iris is structured, and the way it is inside the body. I'm going to demystify something here. I once heard that there's an idea that all babies are born with blue eyes. Now, when I started doing this, I was learning so much, and I'm sharing all this knowledge now. And for me, this has been, as much as I'm always happy to make these recipes and try new things and then do the YouTube videos, it's been kind of 90% study and only 10% food for me. And so I really was interested, like, okay, how come there are people with one eye that's brown and one eye that's blue? Or how come there are people with green eyes? Because if you have either brown or blue, how come there's, obviously there are different shades, and it could be bright, could be dark, but how come there's green? How come there's two different colors? Or, what would cause that change? So I actually asked people that I saw, like, if someone was from Asia or Africa and I saw their baby and the baby had like really strong dark eyes that were brown, I would ask them, like, oh, were they born with these eyes? And they say, oh, absolutely, yes, they were born with these eyes. So first of all, let's demystify the idea that everyone is born with blue eyes. You can be born with either brown or blue. And what happened to me, and happens to a lot of people, I got vaccinations with metals when I was a kid. Then I had a lot of antibiotics, that's the orangey bit, and I had a lot of other toxins. The color has something to do with what's actually going on inside the body, and what's inside the body is obviously going to show everywhere in the body, including the eyes. So that's kind of the answer to, why my eyes are now changing color when toxins are coming out. And essentially, it's, the clearer the color, the healthier the eye. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how it works. So, and I didn't answer the question with the two different colors, green is obviously yellow or orange plus blue, but the two different colors, the way we're structured is there's a kidney for each side of the body. So it could be that one is just stronger than the other, and therefore, if you I did this, like, I really went and looked at all these pictures of eyes on Google that have one that's a different color than the other, and it's kind of like the canvas was the same. So it could be that they had one eye that was really blue and one eye that was blue with like all sorts of other stuff around it. So in a nutshell, if this is a round circle and that's the iris, and let's say that we're like on the right side of the body, like the right eye, all right? In the center of it would be the digestive system. Now, I put some video of me, like when I did the why my eyes are changing color, and you could see like inside, that's a really dark, like kind of brownish part. And I say like I'm really, sensitive to food. That's the digestive system. So the inner part is the digestive system. That's the inner organs of the body, and it's kind of the digestive system is like a slide on top of that. And then when you look around it, then that's the outer side of the body. So on the right-hand side, we have the right hand. And below, we have the right leg, because we're talking about the right iris. And for example, when I first started, I had this really orangey, like, line somewhere that correlates with, like, kind of the lower side of the stomach, and I used to have like a lot of pain there. And then as it cleared out, the pain kind of went away. So there is a correlation between where you are in the eye and where you are in the body, but it's a little bit more of an art because every person is slightly different. So the best thing to do is just download the charts and learn how to do this on your own. I've linked a video explaining this, and the other thing that we said, so we said colors, and we also said fiber. So whether or not it's straight or curly shows the strength of the cell in that organ. Now, there was a girl online called Carly Fraser, and I loved seeing her before and after photos, because she's been on this diet for about 3 or 4 years when she took the before and after photos, and her fibers just straightened out because she strengthened her inner cells. That was really nice to see, because it shows like how far you can really go. Okay, question 11, what are the best raw vegan diets out there? Right, there is no wrong way, we're doing what's natural, but there are slightly different ways to do this. And for me, like I said, with all my excitement about the recipes and all those YouTube videos that I'm making, it's kind of been more 90% knowledge and research and reading and understanding. And I wanted to be on like one of the bigger schools that are more concerned with detox. And there are two big ones. The one I follow, Dr. Morse's diet, the other one, 80-10-10. They're very, very similar. They differ slightly in the structure and slightly in the food combinations, but essentially they're both based on eating a lot of fruit. Like we said before, fruit doesn't have to be sweet. Fruit is anything that grows on a plant or a tree and bears seeds and has a certain water content, like a tomato or a cucumber. That's a fruit. Most people follow this diet at least 80%. I'm currently somewhere around 97%, and that's like, I aim to keep it like as high as I can. When I say 97%, I mean that, you know, you do see stuff in recipes like maple syrup or like namashoyu tamari, which are not exactly raw, but essentially I'm keeping it up. And I also talked about like the dangers of cheating. If you are doing it, that's fine, but only go like half a step. So if you're fruitarian and just eating fruits, then eat a vegetable. Don't go like eat a pizza, because that could really shock your body. So in my case, if I want to suddenly like try something, I would try something that's vegan, gluten-free, and it would drop me. Like I think last month I tried 2 falafel balls and I wanted to go to sleep. So it's very dangerous. Don't do anything too strong. 2 other diets that are popular, raw till 4, which is again an 80% way of doing it, and paleo, which is basically raw. I think it's mostly either fruits or veggies, depending on how you do it, plus meat. But they don't eat anything else, like no eggs, no dairy. How do you convert a recipe? So for those of you watching my YouTube channel, this is kind of my thing. I have about 250 recipes in total in my books, YouTube, and on the website. And what I normally do, the first thing I do is I actually look at the original recipe. So say we're trying to make meatballs. So I try to look like, what do people put in normal meatballs? And then I try to look at a picture and I try to imagine that that picture is already raw vegan. So if there's something and they're like, oh, that's probably made out of that ingredient. And essentially what you're aiming for is to get the texture right and the taste right. That's it. It's all that. So, you know, I also have learned a lot on how to do stuff like breaking zucchini noodles or how to get like a certain type of texture when I'm working with things. So the first thing I would do, look at the regular recipe. Then I'd look at vegan and raw vegan recipes and try to learn like, what have people done in the past that I can, you know, that they can teach me, that I can learn from them on how to do this. And then I go and start experimenting on my own. Now, you can't really go wrong, and generally, you know, it's probably going to taste well because you're the one who made it and you know what you want. But if you want to go like really close to the taste, then sometimes it takes a couple of rounds of trial and error until you get there. Yeah, so in all the books, there's a chapter called Secret Ingredients. It's right at the beginning, and that's where I share all my findings. So how do you make something taste like meat or cheese or Indian taste, or what else do I have there? Egg taste or dairy taste. So essentially, like sometimes when I just feel like it, I just look back, because, you know, I did research before writing the books and just saying, okay, well, today I'm going to add a little bit of that and it's going to taste a little bit more like this other thing. What do I eat in a day? So currently I wake up in the morning and I have the juice of 7 oranges, and then normally I would have, after that I would wait, and then I would have like a big banana smoothie, anywhere between 6 to 8 bananas. And then if I want to, I might have like berries later, and I would have then a whole pack of like 500 grams of grapes, and I might mix that with like an apple. So during the day, I either monomeal or I eat something that is just like 2 things together, maximum of 3. Sometimes I like to add like a little bit of cinnamon or some vanilla, but generally I keep it just like the way it is. And then in the evening, I would have like a really large salad or make a recipe, or sometimes both. So I would normally have about 5 like small bananas, something this size, 1 large cucumber, and then about a bell pepper. Sometimes I would add like maybe half an avocado. I love parsley. I like to put like at least 30 grams in. And then sometimes I would add like other stuff. Usually I'm quite keen on a little bit of olive oil and like lots of spices. I like adding spices to all my things. And again, I like to try new recipes and do all that. What do I do about makeup? So on the PDF, there is a link to an article, again by Marcus Rothkrantz and Cara Brotman, about the different companies, they're US companies, that make makeup that is safe. And if it is that just part of their products are safe, and they would also mention it there. So that's really helped me. In the past, when I was living in the States, I was introduced to 100% Pure. They're a wonderful company. They have very good quality. And I once had their concealer, like I put it on something that was on my skin. And then when I came to take it down, because we said the skin absorbs, so it was filled with fruit. And when I took it down in the evening, like the thing that I was covering was just gone. So basically see what is local. Like now I'm trying stuff in the UK. Just make sure that, you can read the ingredients and it's edible. And if there's anything that, that you don't understand, make sure you know that it's not dangerous. Right. Last question before the bonus question. Oh, there's one other book, if you're really into this. It's called Naked Beauty. It was written by a natural beautician. She's phenomenal. Her name is Jakaya Leone. It's in the notes. Okay. What other lifestyle changes can you make to be happier and healthier? So there's 3. And essentially, what we're doing here, we're trying to get rid of crap and clean ourselves out. So that's all about that, really. And the 3 are do your best, be immune, and then there's a tip. So do your best. Every person has a journey. And this journey could be more about spirituality. It could be more about mentality. It could be about emotions. It could be about society. It could be that, you're in a toxic environment and you're going somewhere else and you're meeting new friends. It could be about jobs. Maybe, you want to make a change there. So 1, do your best. Really try to clean the other areas of your life as far as you can. Number 2 is be immune. So, it's a process. We're all on a process. We're cleaning one thing, then we're cleaning another. We're trying, we're going day by day. So we can't wait till the end of the process to be happy, right? And in a sense, this is also about, we don't live in a bubble. The world does not need to change for us to be happy. Like other people, they're doing their thing, we're doing our thing, and we need to be happy in that. So that's the other thing, like be a little bit immune to what's going on around. It's really hard, but that's the lesson, that's the learning. Okay, here's the big one. I was always a bit of a declutter freak, but when I read a book by, again, this guy, Marcus Rothkrantz, and he speaks about getting rid of stuff, and I thought, aha, this is really making sense to me. And essentially, I got rid of like about 90% of my stuff in about the course of a year. So I would have this little bag and I would take it to charity every week. And at the end I would say, oh, that's it, I'm done. I've decluttered, there's nothing left. And the next week I would end up with another bag going to charity. And I went back to visit my family. I went to my parents' house, cleared out the room that I grew up in. So I got rid of like 80% of everything I owned. And then I called one of my friends and I told her about it. And she said, you would love the KonMari method. I linked the book. It's a declutter, amazing method. And the idea is you keep only what you really love. It's called Sparks Joy. And when I did that, I said like to her, oh, come on, I've gotten rid of 80%. Like there's no way anything else is getting. Well, a couple of new bags got out of the house as well. And the idea is like this. You don't own your stuff. Your stuff owns you. You're the one fixing it, cleaning it, storing it, mending it, putting it on shelves that you clean and store and mend. So, and a lot of things that we have are because someone else thought it was cool to have, or we saw it somewhere, or we thought it would work for a certain time, and it just kind of stayed there lurking on the shelf. So that's a distraction. It takes time to clean everything, to take care of everything. Do it the opposite way around. Keep only the stuff that you want. Have only the best of the best and nothing else. That's true riches. That's like when you don't have like it's like cutting out the fat. So essentially then your stuff works for you. Right, the bonus question. I promised you guys 5 tips on noodles, and we talked about how to make zucchini supple. This is something that I learned from Kara Brotman. Essentially, after you spiralize or after your zucchinis are ready, for each 2 zucchinis, you add 1 tablespoon of olive oil and a pinch of salt. And if you want, you can add half a teaspoon of vinegar or soy sauce substitute. And basically that would break your noodles for you, and they would lose that crunchiness. Well, it would be kind of a hybrid sensation, and it gets a lot more like regular spaghetti. It doesn't work only with zucchinis, it works with other things as well. Then I gave you another quick tip on how to make a really winning raw vegan noodle sauce, and essentially use avocado as the base because you want something that's fatty but not too acidic or too heavy, and then add herbs. And you really can't go wrong because it's going to be thick and it's going to be nice and soothing and wonderful in its taste. Okay, next tip. Not very detox, but it does work. Tahini or nut-based pastes, when mixed with noodles, would give you a little bit more of that normal spaghetti type taste. It's going to be a bit more like regular pasta. Okay, another one, keep good food combinations. So that was a previous question, because if you think about it, when you are mixing only like things that are not sweet with other things that are not sweet, or things that are sweet with things that are sweet, you can't really go wrong. The taste is going to be really, really good no matter what you do. And the other one, get a good spiralizer. So in my YouTube videos, you've seen 2 of them. I have a big one and a small one that I like to carry with me. And I also like to sometimes just take it with me and add noodles to a salad because it's more fun than to eat it just like that. And I've tried julienne blades, just the ones that where you peel, or spiralizers that are based of julienne. And I actually like the regular spiralizers better because I like it when the noodles come out really, really, really long. But hey, if you want the opposite, then that's the tip, right? Then in that case, use the julienne blade. That concludes question number 15, and I'm about to go to your questions now. So bear with me. I'm going to get on YouTube and have a look. Going to see me type on my computer. I had to close this because it was kind of taking the energy away. So let's just have a quick look if anybody left anything on the chat. So I'm looking at the website, so I'm seeing no questions on the chat. If we don't have questions, that's cool. I mean, sometimes everything is quite clear. There's no need to have questions. Let's just have a look if there's anyone on the live chat. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions. So we're just going to close this. Again, you have all the links in the PDF. Anybody buying the book today is getting a lot of freebies. So if you have any questions in the future, it's okay, you can just email me, and if I see that there are a lot of questions after that, then I'll just make a video answering the questions. Please take into account, I am not a healer, so if you have a healing question, like what do I do with diabetes or stuff like that, I would just give you links. If you have food questions, then this is kind of my forte, and I'll be happy to answer. I hope this is good quality video. I haven't watched it yet, so if it is, then it would go public on YouTube and you can share it with everybody. I hope you guys gained a little bit of A, links to professionals today, and B, some insights. At the end of the PDF, you have 2 more links. One of them is for a wonderful search engine called RawFigs. This is the one that I primarily use when I have a question. It gives you links to videos by experts, and it's timestamped, so it would show you exactly the point you need in the video. So on rawfigs.com, you can type anything like what's an avocado, how do you cure diabetes, like just put the word in like iron, avocado, diabetes. It would tell you about where the symptom is coming from, what part of the body is responsible for this. And the other thing is, if you just want a quick kind of page on the diet, I also linked the page from my own RawMunchies.org that has all the videos from the experts that I'm looking at. I hope I've given you enough today, and if you have any more questions, do let me know, because that would be great to make a video and answer more questions. I'm going to close this now, and hopefully you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you on YouTube. And yeah, enjoy the lunch, and I hope you like the freebies when you're buying the book. Right, so I'm going to say goodbye now.